As of this recording, Jujutsu Kaisen ended 74 days ago, and if you're like me, you miss it. However, we are most likely in the minority, seeing as most discussions involving the best-selling manga of 2024 happen to be very critical, some even get a bit malicious towards Gege. Now, I personally have my own issues with Jujutsu Kaisen, but as the title suggests, that's not what this video is about. I won't be addressing my issues, and I'm not trying to fix any problems you have with the series. I will say I think it gets a bit too much hate personally, and I think it's a bit funny how the people who never have anything positive to say can be seen in multiple comment sections or live stream chats when JJK is up for discussion. I doubt they would admit they still have love for it in some capacity, or maybe they just forgot what's to love. So I'd like to highlight the things we can still love because there's still greatness within those 30 volumes. Before I begin though, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I genuinely appreciate everyone who supports the channel. Enjoy. Yuji is one aspect of JJK that is easy to love. He has lost his fair share of battles and he relies on his friends when it comes to the big fights. I personally don't see any problems with that, and to be honest, the thing that I appreciate so much about Yuji is his spirit. The journey through the dark world of Jujutsu tested his mental and emotional fortitude, but he came out the other end with a new perspective on what it means to live. Say what you want about the final stretch of chapters, but 265 was special. And by the way, even if we never find out his domain expansion name, does that really make you think less of his character? The dire time in Shibuya where he witnesses what Sukuna has done to then force himself to move forward because he knows Mahito is still around. Just for him to walk in on Mahito killing his sensei. Nanami's farewell was hard to swallow, and Nobara getting tagged by Mahito may not mean much in the grand scheme of things, I'll give you that, but in the moment it was enough to crack Yuji. Shibuya scarred Yuji, and I don't mean the one on his face. We see it when he pleads guilty to massacring the 1,000 in Shibuya, and it stays with him. We see how he views himself right before Enchan happens. And things only got harder and more challenging for Yuji after the Enchan moment. But he came out the other end with a new perspective on what it means to live. His character arc felt rewarding. Going back to Mahito for a second, he is a villain of his time within JJK. Cracked our main character at a very critical time. He was the only curse to hit a Black Flash. I mean, that whole fight is a thing to love. And to top it off, it's the I am you speech. One of my favorite main character speeches. Speaking of fights in Shibuya, Choso versus Yuji. That fight in the manga and in the anime is so well done. That is one of the best fights I've ever seen. There's only one more fight I'd like to highlight as something to love, and that's the Sukuna versus Gojo fight. You may not like the outcome of it, but it's the only time since I've been reading manga where it felt like an actual sporting event. It was two sides going up against each other. Honestly, and I could just be forgetting something or just not know of a fight, but I don't think I've ever seen a fight in a shonen where the fandom is completely split. Half of us wanted Sukuna, the other half wanted Gojo. It felt fresh to me on a weekly read. It was exciting, and it was handled beautifully. JJK 236 is a masterpiece chapter. To create a character like Satoru Gojo, who wears the crown as like the strongest character, the pinnacle of Jujutsu, and to have him lose in a way that makes his character feel more organic, feels more human. I appreciated his character more after JJK 236. Characters that have a title like that are hard to nail and give a complete rounded story arc. Gege did that with Gojo though. And speaking of Gojo, let's talk about Suguru Geto, who I think is most likely Gege's best example of character writing. Geto's arc is fantastic, and his dynamic with Gojo by itself is exceptional. Choso would be another character I'd like to highlight, and his dynamic with Yuji, that brotherhood. I mean, Gege as a mangaka himself has qualities to love. His gritty art style is fun and visceral. The power system he created, his fight choreography, his character designs. He does character drama, the interactions between them really well. I enjoyed how Gege didn't do like a lot of fan service. He also didn't go for the easy relationship route. Maki is something that was just such a surprise, and I didn't expect for her to actually be able to achieve the crazy goals she said early on. Perfect preparation was amazing. It took my breath away, honestly. Gege delivered so many cool one-liners and just great quotables, which also plays into the memes of the community throughout the entire run of Jujutsu Kaisen. There's been so many great memes, especially with the Sukuna and Gojo fight. That part of the fandom was especially fun. And speaking of the community, this was the first series where I got a sense of a community. Tapping into leak night every week, and I do acknowledge that leaks have, more of a negative air added to whatever space they're in. But the truth is, there were a lot of leak nights that are still memorable for me, where I made friends, connections, I had a good time, genuinely laughed. For me, JJK is special. I mean, I know I'm not a big channel, obviously, but my first JJK video, one of my favorite videos ever, putting that kind of effort into it, which led me to level up as a creator, get better, and care more about content and my channel as a whole because of JJK. Good bit of the things I brought up in this video don't really pay any weight to what happened at the very end. I mean, the truth is, something like Tokyo Revengers fell off in the last 70 chapters. The last 70 chapters of JJK, you could say Gege gave his best writing in those 70 chapters. I mean, 212, 214, 236, 251, 259, 265. It was fun while it lasted. You may not agree with me, or maybe you do, but you'll still continue to shit on JJK online because it's the popular thing to do or whatever. Fair criticism is understandable. And I don't judge anyone who does have criticisms against Gege, but people say some pretty awful shit. But I mean, he is the man that delivered a constant string of greatness, from hidden inventory to Shibuya, perfect preparation, calling games. Those were great times, and there's a lot to love in Shinjuku Showdown as well. Well, that's my take on it. I do appreciate y'all staying for the whole video. Remember, like and subscribe. Comment anything that you want to see going forward on the channel. And remember, stay normie, stay weeb. Shit even in between is fine. Until next time, peace.